So here we are riding on the way home after a trek of practice to a field 40 minutes away. The important thing to remember here is with the Sheinbaum out of office as mayor, thank God, even though she's going to try for a presidential run, she doesn't have the skills. Unfortunately, if they still an election, she might be able to get in, but she doesn't have the skills. She's already proven to us that she doesn't care about the children, because during the pandemic she did nothing to educate the children. She just sat back and let them, well, we can't go to school, which is really funny for an educator to do something like that. Then once again, number one train, people died and she hid the report. That's not a good thing. And the list continues. Instead of spending money on infrastructure, or diverting the construction in Mexico to companies who were going to encourage the growth of Mexico infrastructure, all she was doing was establishing a middle class that's not Mexicans, internationals who can afford it. So that's the Sheinbaum model. Sadly, the mayor, who is the new mayor, is a NeoCon. He's been around since in many positions with Amlo when he was mayor, many other people. Sadly, his history, unfortunately, is just as bad. It's clearly his government, the people he worked for, because he was in social pieces. He he did nothing for the poor. The model for the liberals in the United States is very similar to the model that's happening here in Mexico. In fact, the current new mayor, he went to Georgetown and studied politics. So once again, it goes back to the same thing. Liberal schools teaching very liberal ideas and how to use the people, poor people's money to run a city, and how to glorify themselves through donations of the rich, who give them donations to run for office, and they take over and kill the middle class, which in the past in the United States has always been business owners, small business owners. But now that being wiped away, they continue with their bad policies to stripe away Mexico. Now, 1990, 2000, when I was traveling internationally very extensively, Mexico was a third world country. So you have to wonder, how did it happen so fast? Well, once again, introduce corporations to low wages, send specific jobs to China, and allow China to be your manufacturer, take away manufacturing away from Mexico, and then of course making the uneducated or lack of education people, because the government doesn't support education, be their workers. So now not only does China have the textile industry, the everything industry in Mexico, they also have the labor who works for them. So once again, the liberals have done a fantastic job, and people like Claudia Sheinbaum and even now the new mayor are following the same social construct as did the past. So invariably, the Morena party has become a party of no values. Its values are American, for example, taking the gays, which I am, and pushing them over all the other sexualities, which I do not do. I spent many years working with young gay people who try to kill themselves, and every time I said to them, family is more important than being gay. Things that are more important are not saying and having relationships that are non-monogamous. I have an open moral system, because that's a deterioration of society, which is obviously what the Morena Party is doing. Sadly, here we are in this beautiful city. Gay Pride's coming up. I don't know if I'll be celebrating. because really there's nothing there for me. Not that I'm not gay, because I truly am, but the sadness of what the social parties are doing, such as the Democrat Party in the United States and now the Liberal Party, Morena Party in Mexico, is the deterioration of family values. Family values are important in a social construct to stabilize a society, to give it meaning. Otherwise, it's ran by corporations. Who has the money? The rich and no one else. This is why we see so many icon images in society today, especially in Hollywood and various places. What does one do? I was just recently asked in a social media post, what should we do? What am I doing? Well, I'm voicing my opinion. That's the first start. Second part, I'm taking part of the culture that I grew up with strong values with a mother who, although she wasn't a Christian when we were younger, she wasn't Catholic, she made us understood what values were, and she gave them to us as respect. Those are values that unfortunately do not exist in many young people that I see today who are following not lack of religion or lack of faith-based understanding of how to work with other people. So, next, I hope to see what the new mayor will do now that we have this very bad mayor gone. Let's see what he does. Unfortunately, he appears to be the same NeoCon as the past. Unfortunately, because he too was in governorship, in the government, and he allowed the children not to be educated, which created the problem we're having. After all these years, he's been in office for so many years as undersecretary, various jobs, so he knows better. And unfortunately, he tried to win office, but he lost it, and perhaps this is why he's always been under somebody else's sleeve, and why they put him in when Claudia left, so they can try to manipulate once again the position that he couldn't fulfill through a natural election. So that's where we are today, state of today in Mexico, education, politics, and if you want to know more, follow us at 3mof.com. We're working on projects to help the young in Mexico benefit and be their own business, even when the neocons don't give them options.